In this video, I'd like to talk about two particular elements that are part of advanced construction drawings and orthographic drawings. One is how to handle interior elevations. So this is what you usually get out of SketchUp. It's a nice section. And this one I've actually created using the multi-layered technique so that I could really tweak my line weights. What if we wanted this to be an interior elevation instead? Well, first of all, I'm going to ungroup this and pull apart the pieces. We don't really need these lines, okay? So I'm just going to delete that particular layer. And in this case, I've actually got the furniture on a layer which is just black and white, and then I've got another layer for the poche. So perhaps what I'll do is use the, drag this out of the way here, I'll just send it to the back, and what I'm going to do is trace the outline here of this space, and the reason that I'm doing that rather than just using the natural cropping tool is because it's not going to go around things like this soffit. It just doesn't look right unless you go around the soffit. A lot of people will go around window wells. They will also go around built-in furniture. So that stylistic consideration is your own, but technique-wise, tracing that irregular interior elevation outline is the way to go. So how do you do that? Well, in this case, it's all rectilinear, so a pencil will do just fine. Just make sure you choose a line weight that's going to be a nice heavy line weight. Of course, we can change that later on. What I like to do is activate the fill option as well. And that way it's a little easier to see sometimes what I'm doing. And then you just trace along your shape here. Be aware that layout will find endpoints in the SketchUp model. However, one, it's not always accurate, which is one issue. And then two, some objects might have little itty bits and pieces which you don't want to see. So be aware of that. So anyway, let's see. Now I don't need this background layer, and I think I'll just use the black and white layer here. So here's the shape that I drew. So here we have the interior elevation. It's kind of blocking this out, so we need to change the drawing order. You can, whichever one you select, you move it in the opposite direction. So now I've got the elevation. So I'll arrange and send to back. Okay, so now here's the shape that I drew, and it's just a matter of selecting the shape and the SketchUp viewport and make a clipping mask. Okay, and my clipping mask, I lost my line weight. So let's go back to shape style and turn on stroke. And what did I have it at? 4, I think. It's a nice dark interior elevation. In fact, I think I'd even crank that up a little bit. I tend to like a nice dark interior elevation. Oops, except it works better if you select it. So anyway, that is how you make an interior elevation. So one other thing you can do with interior elevations, I'm not going to do it with this one because it's a little complicated, is you can actually select the drawing, drawing from SketchUp, and here I'll drill down here in one of these here. I'll just grab one view, and you can explode it. And what that does is it then creates a group with all the lines in it. You can then modify the line weights of those individual elements. I don't like to do that unless, for example, unless it's something like a piece of casework where maybe setting up the SketchUp file is more work than just modifying a few lines. Also, sometimes if I absolutely need a particular line weight, for a particular element, I'll just draw it in using a line. So that's interior elevations. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about here in this particular juncture is things like using custom elements, creating a floor plan legend, which I did here, basically using screenshots of the wall for the existing walls and the new construction walls, and dragging in components or drawing elements from the scrapbook. Well, what if I want to use this floor plan legend again somewhere else in maybe another project? Well, it's certainly possible to create a custom scrapbook, but so far I've been just using the scrapbook that is readily available from the default value of layout. All you have to do is I usually just save this sheet here, and again, once you've created one, you can just add to it. So I believe I have that here. I just made a sheet with just that floor plan legend on it. And then all you have to do is just save as scrapbook. And how easy is that? Usually the way Layout likes to do it is it has its own support files. Again, like anything custom, these file locations are on a Mac, hidden in a library, which is on its own hidden. You can absolutely have that, or you can add a custom file location if you have your own personal library. But anyway, if you do save it to that, it shows up here in your listing. And in this case, I haven't created any subpages. I just have this one page. But here's my floor plan legend, and I can just drag it in there. Okay, and you can even go and edit this and come back and add further things to it. And then when you save it, it will update. So creating a custom scrapbook is super handy. Working in an office, like any of these kind of shared resources, there probably will be a network folder somewhere with these custom scrapbooks and templates and all those good things so that everyone can share in the hard work. So that's some advanced orthographic drawing techniques.